Welcome to Land to House. I'm Seth. I'm standing in my lawnmower shed where I'm going to be upgrading my power system. In the past, I had a 12-volt battery with 12-volt inverter running my lights and receptacles, but now I'm going to be upgrading to a 48-volt system. I'm going to be using the Ruixu Battery and also the SRNE 48-volt inverter here. This thing will do 5,000 watts. It's pure sine wave, so all my lights won't flicker, and it should be good. So let's go ahead and get to work installing this real quick. For a quick overview of what I'm working with, I have a couple of pieces of plywood on the wall. I've got my solar coming into this right here. I believe I will have 1,000 watts of solar. Currently I have 500 watts connected, so we'll see how much I actually need out here. So I've got a combiner box here because I've got two different legs of power going off into the building. This is the Ruixu Battery. It's a 48-volt lithium iron phosphate rack battery. I've currently got it set up so that it will have just one battery in here, which should be plenty. So if you want to see more information on this, I have a dedicated review on it, and so far it seems to have done well. But you got your positive terminal, negative terminal, communication if you want to have more than one of these batteries. There's a ground screw over here, dip switches, and then there's a state of charge, alarm, and a run indicator with the on-off rocker switch down there. Weighs over 100 pounds, so definitely be careful if you're going to be picking this thing up by yourself. All right, and now moving over here to the inverter. This is the SRNE. It's a 5,000 watt pure sine wave 48 volt inverter. It's got your AC input, AC output, PV input, and down here is where the battery terminals are. And if you move down here, you can see on-off rocker switch, and there is a breaker over there as well. And then just some other things that we won't be using here. Now it does have the ability to communicate with batteries. I'll have to see if I'm going to do that or not. So we'll see here in just a bit. But this one is a pretty nice little machine. So I'll have links to that in the description down below. I've also got a dedicated review on it as well. I want this inverter display to be about eye level, so I'm going to just mount it up here towards the top. Let's do about right here. Okay, and then I can mark where I want the other screw and then put that in there. Well, it's not 100% level, but I think it's going to be all right. Hooking up the battery cables is pretty straightforward. They're just going to snap in here. There's the positive. Let's get the negative over here. There we go. Easy enough. I had already used a couple of mechanical lugs down here to get those battery cables in place. The PV input is right over here on this side. So I've got my positive and negative wires here for that to go up under here. Looks like positive is over on this side. Negative is over here on the other side. Right next to the PV over here is the AC output. There's the load, neutral, and ground, so I'll be using these three right here. Let's go ahead and begin getting that done. I've got a ground first. Let me cut that to about right here. Next I have the white wire, which is the neutral, and it's going to go right here next to that ground. Lastly, I have the load, which is the black wire, and that's going to go here on the furthest side. And that should be all we need to do here to get this up and running. Let me turn on the battery's rocker switch. The state of charge will beep down here. state of charge says 2 battery bars, so about halfway. I'm going to turn the breaker on here for the inverter and then flip that rocker switch up underneath. Once that turns on, the display will show here, and then there's going to be a fan that also turns on. The AC will click right here in just a moment. Aha! And a light has turned on in here. That means the output is working properly. Let's check to see how much power that little light is consuming. About 30 watts. Let me turn the other lights on real quick. Alright, we're up to looks like 57 watts, and that is looking really good. Now it's time to turn on the solar. I'm not sure if these panels are hooked up or not, so let's find out. This is my solar input. Turn that on. I don't see any solar input yet. Let me go up the hill and see if my panels are connected. These 4 panels are 1,000 watts worth of solar, and they're going down to the lawnmower shed. They are now connected. Let's go down there and see what kind of power we have going in to that battery. Go ahead and flip the solar back on. It says 132 volts. It's a good sign. Let's see, it's coming in now. 0.6 amps. Got 200 watts right there. 300. We'll see what it goes up to in just a moment. The system seems to be working well now. Let's step back and take a look at it. So starting from the bottom, I've got solar coming in right here, which goes up under here and feeds the PV positive and negative. And I've got 500 watts coming in, as you can see right here. Now the solar panels that I have out here on the hill are some of the oldest on the property. You can see them right there in the front. Should be 1,000 watts, but we're only getting 500, so they're not really performing all that awesome. I may have to get up there and clean them off some. After the solar, we've got the battery cables that go over here to the Ruixu Battery. Let's see, I've just got the one set of cables. The other set down here would go to extra batteries in a system. So state of charge, you can see down over here, is blinking from 1 to 2, which means this thing is charging, which is a good thing. Now the inverter is set up to charge a lithium iron phosphate battery, and so it's going to charge this basically at 57 volts until it gets up to full, and then it will turn off. I'm hearing the fans just kicking on a little bit. Oh, he just went off. So this thing will regulate itself. I'm about to put the front cover back on. Now the inverter, if I move over here to the side, we should be able to see the specs. So it is the model name HYP4850U100H. And let's see here, just some info on it. PV input, 5,500 watts, 500 volts max, operating range 120 to 450 volts, and it has 22 amp input. AC output is 5,000 watts, it's 120 volt, and 40 to 60 volt is your battery input. So yeah, basically it's just designed for a 48 volt battery. And it is a single phase 120 volt output. The battery I have is a 5 kilowatt hour battery, and it's a lithium iron phosphate, so you can use the majority of that range. The inverter, I'm not sure what the idle consumption power is going to be on this. It'll be interesting to see if 500 watts coming into the battery is sufficient to keep this whole place up and running, or if I'm going to have to add more panels in the future. So that being said, I will keep an eye on the inverter to make sure that over the period of 2 or 3 days of cloudy weather, it doesn't drop this battery down too low. Now this battery is also not supposed to be charged under 32 degrees, which means this is going to be a spring, summer, and fall system, and I'll have to turn everything off in the winter time, otherwise I would be damaging this battery. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to check out either this inverter or this battery, I will have links down below. This is just a quick little update video on me getting power back into my ATV shed, or my four-wheeler shed. So the reason I had to do this upgrade is because one of my other inverters stopped working, and I thought, you know what, company sent these, I might as well go ahead and use them. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.